God sees us from the inside out. Grace and peace, everybody. Welcome to Sabbath School Study Group. My name is Chris Bailey. I'm excited. I am so glad to be outside. God has called us to Minnesota. We are here and we're sharing the series this week. It is hot out here, but just like Israel on their way to the promised land, God made a shade, and that's where we are right now. As we go into this series, we're going deeper into the book of Mark. We're now at Mark chapter 7 and chapter 8. And in today's lesson, Jesus is having an encounter with what was probably his greatest enemy in the flesh at the time that he walked the earth. And it was a religious establishment, the religious leaders, specifically the Pharisees. Their issue was not ignorance. Their issue was, well, we're going to talk about that in a couple studies from now. But let's focus on this point, and that's how God sees us. Before we go further, I want to thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to this channel. Stay in touch with us. We appreciate you passing this video on to someone else. Help us out. Hit the like button. That makes the video easier for others to find it. And of course, visit us online, changeministry.org. So let's go to the book of Mark now. In chapter 7, Jesus is responding to the questioning of the Pharisees in relationship to how he and his disciples are eating. Just so happens they're starting to eat, but they did not wash their hands in the traditional method. Look at Jesus' words. Jesus says now in Mark chapter 7, and when he had called all the people unto him, he said unto them, Hearken unto me, every one of you, and understand. There is nothing from without a man that entereth into him can defile him. But the things which come out of him, those are they that defile the man. If any man have ears to hear, let him hear. Jesus is not ignoring wrong. Jesus does not ignore issues. God is always relevant because God is all-knowing. It's impossible for God to be off base because he sees all bases. He's on all bases. He is God. The difference between us and him is perspective. When we see someone with issues, or even we see our own issues, we usually start from the outside in. It's easy for us. It's accessible to us. We are sensory. But God is not sensory alone. God is spiritual, and he sees us from within. Proverbs, the book that is probably considered the book of wisdom, look at how it describes God's look or God's view of you and me. In Proverbs chapter 24, verses 11 through 12, it says, If thou forbear to deliver them that are drawn unto death and those that are ready to be slain, and if thou sayest, Behold, we knew it not, doth not he that pondereth the heart consider it? And he that keepeth thy soul, doth he know it? And shall not he render to every man according to his works? So here's what makes this verse so beautiful. It's not that God does not render justice. It's not that God just ignores what's going wrong, but he notices and he recognizes first what's going on the inside. He makes his decisions based on the status of the heart, not just the action of the hand. That's the point we can get from Proverbs 24, but it's also the call that we can hear from Proverbs 23. When God was talking poetically in this father to son conversation, which is the book of Proverbs, to now this father to children conversation for us, he says, My son, give me thine heart, and let thine eyes observe my ways. Do we notice the order and the connection? Yes, God wants us to act a certain way. God wants us to live a certain way. But that living a certain way starts with learning the way. And that learning of the way is based on loving the way. And where does that all start? It starts in here. It starts on the inside out. That's how Jesus saw us when he walked the earth. And it's how God even still sees us today.